Hello everybody, my name is Leo and with this video we will share a direct comparison between the Line 6 Helix floor versus the Neural DSP Quad Cortex. First of all, we will hear the units in action in a demo song, then we will compare the technical characteristics of the two units with a very detailed comparison chart. Then we will hear more sounds in a dedicated section of this video, also comparing the two units with the real tube amps, and finally I will give you my 2 cents. So I hope you enjoy and please don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell, as it would really help me to make more videos like this. By the way, as you suggested, this time I will also use a cheap guitar, a very cheap guitar, my Donner DLP. Let's start! We will now check the differences between the two units considering the following parameters: number of amps, cabs and microphones built in, third-party IRs availability, number of patches and presets, number of effects and effect chain management, MIDI possibilities, audio inputs and outputs, full switches and expression pedal available, screen size, looper capabilities, ADA conversion and USB channels available in both the unit, special features, current, power, dimension, weight and price. First of all, we have 50 amps, more than 1000 IRs and 6 mics in the Quad Cortex, where you can load 2 mics at once and you can change the position and the distance of each mic. On the other hand, the Helix offers 86 amps and 41 cabs and 16 mics, and as regards mics options, you can change only distance and not the position, which is a pretty odd choice from Line 6 in my opinion, as the mic position has a pretty big impact on the sound. So I would say that they are on par, as the Helix offers more amps, but the Quad Cortex offers more mic options, like the possibility to change the position of the mics, as I was saying. Both the units offer the possibility to load third-party IRs, and we have 256 user slots in the Quad Cortex and 128 in the Helix. The Quad Cortex load IRs up to 1024 sample points, and the Helix up to 2048 sample points. So technically the Helix should offer the possibility to load higher quality IRs, and the Quad Cortex offers the possibility to load more IRs. So once more I will give a thumbs up to both of them. Let me just say that there is a debate about IR length, as some of us think that the most important information of the IRs are at the beginning of the IR itself, so it is worthless to have longer IRs. I would not enter into this debate in this video. Furthermore, the Quad Cortex has 32 banks, each with 8 presets for a total amount of 256 presets with 8 scenes that we can arrange in 10 setlists. Each scene is a specific combination of parameters of the signal chain. The cool thing about scenes is that you can switch one to the other basically with very low latency. On the other hand, the Helix offers 1024 presets distributed in 8 sets of 32 banks, each of 4 patches, with 8 snapshots in total. Snapshots are basically the same thing of the scenes. So I think that here the Helix is better as it offers more presets in total. Let me just add that the Quad Cortex setlist and general management of the presets is pretty smart and intuitive. As regards effects, the Quad Cortex has more than 70 effects distributed in 32 blocks, not sure here, and you can have 4 parallel sets of effects, while the Helix offers more than 220 effects arranged in 32 blocks with 4 blocks that can be set in parallel. So the Helix is better as it offers more effects. Both have the same MIDI I/O. As regards inputs and outputs, the Quad Cortex has 2 inputs that are also combi inputs, so that you can attach also a microphone for singing, where the Helix has only 1 guitar input and 1 microphone input. The Quad Cortex has 2 sends and 2 returns, where the Helix has 4 sends and 4 returns for the effects loop. Both have balanced and unbalanced output and an headphone out, and only the Helix has an aux in. So here I would say that it depends on what you need, as for a singer who is also a guitar player, an acoustic guitar player, the Quad Cortex can offer the double XLR, where the Helix offers 4 effects loops. Therefore, I would say that they are on pair. The Quad Cortex has 11 dual function foot switches, meaning that they can serve also as rotary knobs in order to change parameters, where the Helix has 12 capacitive foot switches, a built-in expression pedal and very nice writing over the foot switches. The Quad has 2 inputs for external foot switches or expression pedals, and the Helix has 3 inputs for expression pedals and an amp control out. So here the Helix is better. Obviously the price to pay to have all these inputs and outputs and foot switches is that the Helix is way bigger than the Quad Cortex, as we will see later on in this evaluation. The screen of the Quad Cortex is superior than the one of the Helix, no doubts here, and it is also touch sensitive. The Helix has a 30-second stereo looper, where currently the Quad Cortex does not come with a looper. It should be added with future firmware update, but so far the Helix is better. As regards ADA conversion and USB capabilities, the Quad Cortex has 24 bits at 48 kHz converters and 18 and 8 out USB channels. And unfortunately I was not able to find the dynamic range values. The Helix has 24 bits converters at 96 kHz with 123 dB of dynamic range, which is a pretty high value. Furthermore, the Helix has also SPDIF and AES-EBU connectivity. Therefore, in my opinion, overall, the Helix offers more options. As regards special features, I would mention the Wi-Fi capabilities of the Quad Cortex that allows us to do firmware updates and upload and download presets and IRs in and from the cloud, and of course the profiling capabilities of the Quad Cortex that allows us to create a snapshot of our favorite amps, and it is also possible to download profile of other amps from the Quad Cortex community. Among the Helix special features, I would mention the computer app that is currently missing for the Quad Cortex and the Variax connectivity. So here I would give the thumbs up to the Quad Cortex, as I think that the profiling capability is a killer feature. And furthermore, Neural DSP said that the computer app should come in the future. Then we have the power needs, where the Helix has an internal PSU and the Quad Cortex has an external one. The Quad Cortex draws 18 watts of power, and unfortunately I was not able to find this info related to the Helix. But I would give a thumbs down to both of them, as neither of the two offer a power out to feed the external effects. You know, both the units offer the possibility to connect external effects, and it would be nice to also have the possibility to power them up without having to use an external power brick. As regards the dimension and weight, the Quad Cortex is smaller and lighter. In fact, the Helix is pretty gigantic in my opinion. And finally, the price, that is similar, even if not identical, for both the units. Nevertheless, as you suggested in the comments of my previous video, no red or green thumbs in the price section, as the price tend to fluctuate and change over time. So finally, let's count the red and green thumbs. Suspense. We have 7 green thumbs for the Quad Cortex and 6 reds, and 9 greens for the Helix with 4 reds. So the Helix is a tiny bit better because it offers more features. But obviously this is just a technical comparison without considering that each feature could have a different importance for you. And so, for instance, you can consider the Quad Cortex better just because it has the 2 combi inputs or the profiling capabilities, or the Helix better for its computer app or for its 4 effects loops. But if you just algebraically sum the features, according to my comparison chart, the Helix is slightly better. Let's now hear some more sounds. Here I'm showing you the frequency response of each unit to try to show you their tonal characteristics if possible. The circles show where the most important differences are in my opinion. For the Helix you have this more pronounced curve for the very high frequencies starting at around 16 kHz going all over 20 kHz where the red circle is located. Now, an ear in good shape barely hear 20 kHz, but these more pronounced high frequencies are what probably make me feel the Helix a little bit more hi-fi sounding and less natural. On the other hand, the Quad Cortex has a tiny bit of more pronounced bass frequencies where the blue circle is located, that probably tends to move a tiny bit of energy from the mids to the bass frequencies, thus resulting in a tiny bit more scooped sound compared to the real deal, at least in my opinion. I think that working on EQ you can reduce these differences, but probably they are, how to say, the tonal landmark of each unit, so I thought it was something interesting to share. Final considerations here, and please notice that these are gonna be my personal opinions and you may not agree with me, and this is totally fine. Let me also add that I've purchased this unit with my own money and I'm not paid or sponsored by Line 6 or Neural DSP. Furthermore, the Quad Cortex is, how to say, in its infancy, with the first versions of the firmware, where the Helix has already had a lot of iteration of its firmware, and Line 6 is in the amp modelers market since many years. Let's now share the main selling points in my opinion for each unit. Amp sound. Well, it's a pro for both of them. I think that you can judge by yourself watching the more sound section of this video or the demo song. There is a slight tonal specific character of each unit, but it is a very subtle difference. I would say that the Quad Cortex has the edge here for its profiling capabilities, especially if you have a specific amp tone in mind and you can profile your amp, as you can obtain very realistic results with the Quad Cortex. Effects. Well, as regards effect, I think it's pretty difficult to judge about quality, as it's hard for me to find a reference. You know, with amp simulation we have the real amp, but with effects, first of all, there are a lot of different effects, and there could be a quality difference among them. And furthermore, which is the reference? Let's say for a chorus, it really comes down to personal taste, in my opinion. I would just say that if you are an effect geek, the Helix is better, as so far it offers way more effects than the Quad Cortex. Home recording. Well, here I think they are on par. Maybe the Quad Cortex is a tiny bit better, as with a double XLR input you can record an acoustic guitar very professionally with two condenser mics, which is pretty cool. And if you are a singer and an acoustic guitar player, you can use one mic for the voice and another one for the acoustic guitar, and you can record both the voice and the acoustic guitar at the same time. It is a pretty edgy situation, but something that you can do with the Quad Cortex and not with the Helix. Live use. Well, for me they are both great machines. The Helix is bigger with more foot switches that are also more distant each from the other, so I think it's more comfortable for presets switching. But on the other hand, the Quad Cortex is much lighter and smaller and easy to carry around, and honestly I like its compactness. Workflow. Well, the Helix has a computer app that should be available in future for the Quad Cortex. In my opinion, the computer app is a better way to work if you are recording a song, as you have everything in the screen of your computer. With the Quad Cortex I found myself going back and forward between the computer and the quad screen. Sometimes I also had to stand up to better verify the parameters. So basically the Helix, in my opinion, provides with a more seamless workflow when you are recording with the computer. Easiness of use. Well, not considering the computer app, the Quad I think is a tiny bit superior. I mean, the touchscreen, the way you browse parameters, and the way the user interface has been designed guarantee a very satisfying experience. And if I had to choose, well, first of all, both machines are great machines. They are both outstanding piece of gear. And I'm going to apply a use case here that is my use case that could be different from yours. So I'm not necessarily saying that one machine is better than the other. I'm gonna just say which one suits better my needs. And obviously your needs could be different from mine. If I had to choose, I would go with the Quad Cortex, basically for three reasons. The first one is the profiling capabilities. I mean, I have invested a lot of money in valve amps, and I have specific tones that I love for all of them. So the possibility to profile these tones and put them in the Quad Cortex is really amazing. The second reason is that if I had to invest 1.6 grams right now, I would buy the newer machine. You know, the Helix is pretty old, so it's like investing in DSP chips that are now, I think, 4 years old. I don't know, I think it's like investing in a 4-year-old MacBook at the same price of a new one. I would never do it. The third reason is the dimension and weight. Well, I love the compactness of the Quad Cortex. Honestly, I cannot bring with me heavy rig anymore. Finally, I think that all these considerations can be applied also to the Helix LT, which has some less features compared to the Helix Floor, and it is smaller and cheaper. But I mean, unless being on a tight budget, I would still prefer the Quad Cortex. So these were my final considerations, and now I'm very curious to hear from you your opinions. Which one would you get? Please let me know your precious and valuable opinions in the comments section below. I'm very curious to hear what would you choose and which are the key selling points for you. I think that the discussion we'll all have together in the comments is really an added value for sure for me, and I hope also for you. Thank you in advance for all your comments, opinions and feedback. And please let me know if you want me to do a video dedicated to the feel of the two units, something similar of what I did when I compared the Quad Cortex to the FM3. We have now reached the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did it, please subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell and leave a thumbs up. It would be of a great help. If you're interested in my IRs or my camper profiles, you can check out the link in the card above or description below, where there is also a link to a playlist of songs of mine. Thank you for watching, see you in the next video. Bye bye.